Hello everyone. Today I am going to speak about MRI evaluation of carcinoma of rectum. The rectum extends from the anorectal junction to the rectosigmoid junction, and the rectosigmoid junction is arbitrarily defined as 15 centimeters above the anorectal angle. A tumor more than 15 centimeters above the anorectal angle is regarded and treated as a sigmoid tumor. Rectal carcinomas are divided into low, mid, and high rectal carcinomas depending on their location. If the distal border of the tumor is 0 to 5 centimeters from the anorectal angle, it is regarded as a low rectal carcinoma. Mid rectal carcinomas have the distal border 5 to 10 centimeters from the anorectal angle, and high rectal carcinomas have the distal border 10 to 15 centimeters from the anorectal angle. This classification is important from the treatment point of view because low rectal carcinomas are usually treated with intersphincteric resections, or if the sphincter complex is completely involved, then an abdominoperineal resection is performed with an end colostomy. Mid and high rectal carcinomas are usually treated with low anterior resection and total mesorectal excision. These are the planes of different surgical approaches. The green line indicates the plane of low anterior resection above the sphincter complex. The blue line indicates the plane of intersphincteric resection between the external and the internal sphincter. The red line indicates the plane of abdominoperineal resection, which also requires excision of the sphincter complex. In total mesorectal excision, the entire mesorectal unit, including the rectum, mesorectal fat, perirectal lymph nodes, and mesorectal fascia, are completely removed. The role of MRI is to determine whether a patient is a candidate for total mesorectal excision or the patient requires chemoradiotherapy preoperatively. A locally advanced tumor is first treated with chemoradiation to downstage the tumor, followed by total mesorectal excision at a later stage. The technique: one can use the endorectal coils if available. Bowel preparation is generally not required. Antispasmodic agents are usually given for decreasing the bowel peristalsis and result in motion artifacts. If there is a known small villus tumor, using the rectal gel can be advantageous. Also, the rectal gel can be used to see the exact length of the involved segment and the site of attachment of polypoidal tumors in case the rectal lumen is completely collapsed. High resolution T2 weighted images in all three planes is the key in evaluation of primary rectal carcinoma. Thin section 3 mm axial images are obtained orthogonal to the tumor plane. Initially, we start with obtaining the sagittal images. On obtaining the sagittal images, we plan our axial images perpendicular to the rectal wall at the level of tumor to avoid volume averaging. If there is obliquity in planning these axial images, we tend to oversample or undersample the tumor. Coronal images are usually obtained parallel to the tumor in case of mid or high rectal carcinomas. However, in case of low rectal carcinoma, since there is a risk of involvement of the sphincter complex and its evaluation is necessary preoperatively, we plan our coronal images parallel to the anal canal. T1 weighted images covering the entire pelvis is recommended for evaluation of lymph nodes and pelvic bones. Diffusion weighted images help in accurate detection of rectal carcinomas, assessment of response to chemoradiotherapy, and for detection of malignant involved pelvic lymph nodes. Contrast MRI may also be carried out to improve the detection of small tumors and for malignant lymph nodes. These images show the advantage of using the rectal gel where the exact site and length of the tumor can be obtained. Also, the distance from the anal verge can be easily measured. Always review the prior images of the patient if available. Check for any previous history of chemoradiotherapy. Request the patient to empty the bladder and rectum before the scans. One can use 60 to 120 ml of warm gel in patients with small or villous tumors. After obtaining the initial sagittal T2 weighted images, define the location and size of tumor and plan the axial images orthogonal to the tumor. Assessment of primary rectal tumors is done in terms of its stage, depth of invasion outside the muscularis propria, and its relationship to the adjacent anatomic structures like mesorectal fascia, the anal sphincter complex, adjacent pelvic organs, and pelvic side wall. First is the staging of the tumor. T1 tumors are usually confined to the submucosa. Submucosa is the hyperintense layer on T2 weighted images. T2 tumors invade the muscularis propria, however, they do not go beyond it. The muscularis propria layer is the hypointense layer on the T2 weighted images, as seen in this image. T3 tumors usually extend beyond the muscularis propria, and T4 tumors either involve the adjacent pelvic organs or the peritoneal reflection. In this case, we see axial T2 weighted images of the pelvis showing eccentric wall thickening of the rectum involving the muscularis propria. However, we do not see any abnormal soft tissue in the adjacent mesorectal fat. Hence, this is a T2 tumor. Also, we can see the normal mesorectal fascia as a thin hypointense line, which is normal in this case. T3 tumors are divided into 3A, 3B, and 3C depending on the depth of invasion. This is the way we measure the depth of invasion beyond the muscularis propria. Also, the distance of the tumor from mesorectal fascia is measured and given in our reports. These MR images show a T3 tumor with infiltration into the adjacent mesorectal fat. We see a 3C tumor which is extending more than 10 mm beyond the muscularis propria and involving the mesorectal fascia in this case. Now we'll see the relationship of the tumor to other anatomic structures like mesorectal fascia, peritoneal reflection, anal sphincter, and pelvic organs. Let us start with the relationship of the tumor to mesorectal fascia. The mesorectal fascia encircles the rectum, the mesorectal fat, mesorectal lymph nodes, the lymphatic vessels to form a distinct anatomic unit. Anteriorly, it is attached to the Denon-Villiers fascia at the level of prostate and seminal vesicles. Posteriorly, it is separated from the presacral fascia by a potential retrorectal space. Laterally, on either side of the rectum, it is identified as a thin T2 hypointense line. This is the thin T2 hypointense line which denotes the mesorectal fascia. Anteriorly, it is attached to the Denon-Villiers fascia at the level of prostate and seminal vesicles. A distance of greater than 1 mm between the tumor and the fascia has shown to correlate with a decrease in local recurrence, and hence it is taken as a cutoff to decide the mesorectal fascia involvement. This measured distance is the distance from the mesorectal fascia to either the primary tumor margin, a tumor deposit, a tumor thrombus within a vessel, or a malignant mesorectal lymph node, whichever is the shortest distance. In this case, we see a T3 tumor extending into the mesorectal fat. Also, there is a small mesorectal lymph node at 9 o'clock position. Now, the shortest distance between the tumor and the mesorectal fascia is between the primary tumor and not between the lymph node and the fascia. So, this is the way the distance is to be measured and given in our reports. Relationship of the tumor to peritoneal reflection. The peritoneum reflects from the superior aspect of urinary bladder and goes on to the anterior aspect of the rectum to form a rectovesical pouch. This is best identified on sagittal T2 weighted images. Relationship of tumor to the peritoneal reflection is important because if the peritoneal lining is involved, it will upstage the disease to T4. In this case, we see this thin T2 hypointense line, which is the peritoneal reflection. The primary tumor appears tethered to the peritoneal reflection, causing its involvement, further confirmed on these axial images. Therefore, it is a T4 tumor involving the peritoneal lining. Relationship of the tumor to pelvic organs. The most commonly involved pelvic organs are uterus and vagina in females and prostate and seminal vesicles in males. Assessment of tumor to the presacral fascia and involvement of sacral nerve roots is also important for surgical planning and should be mentioned if these are involved. Tumor extension into the proximal sacrum or nerve involvement above S2 vertebral level renders the tumor unresectable. Relationship of the tumor to anal sphincter complex. This is particularly important in case of low rectal carcinomas. This is best evaluated on coronal T2 weighted images. The upper margin of the puborectalis sling assists in the pre-surgical determination whether sphincter sparing resection is feasible or no. This image shows the normal anatomy of the sphincter complex. The internal sphincter is continuation of the circular muscle layer of the rectum. The external sphincter consists of inferior portion of levator ani, the puborectalis muscle, and the deep superficial and subcutaneous external sphincter muscles. These MR images show a moderate sized low rectal carcinomas going well beyond the puborectalis sling to involve the anal sphincter complex, which is further confirmed on these sagittal images. The upper margin of the puborectalis sling forms the upper edge of surgical anal canal. Evaluation of tumor to the upper margin of puborectalis sling assists in pre-surgical determination whether sphincter sparing resection is feasible or no. Tumor involvement of sphincter complex requires either partial sphincter resection with coloanal reconstruction, or if there is extensive involvement of the sphincter, then an abdominoperineal resection is performed with an end colostomy. Vascular invasion of the tumor. Involvement of larger vessels like the mid-rectal or superior rectal arteries and veins is common and easily identified on MR images. It is suggested by visualization of a linear tumor signal in the lumen of vessel on contiguous sections. In this case, we see a moderate sized mid-rectal carcinoma with multiple mesorectal lymph nodes and a linear tumor signal within superior rectal vessel. This is vascular invasion of the tumor. Assessment of lymph nodes. Evaluation of the superior rectal, mesorectal, internal, external, and common iliac, retroperitoneal, and superficial inguinal lymph node groups is important in case of rectal carcinomas. Nodes within the confines of mesorectal fascia are resected during total mesorectal excision. These nodes should be assessed in terms of its involvement, whether these look benign or malignant to you, and the relationship of clearly malignant lymph nodes to the mesorectal fascia should also be mentioned in the report. If a malignant node or tumor deposit abuts the mesorectal fascia, that is, it is less than 1 mm from the mesorectal fascia, this information is important to the surgeon and must be mentioned because the surgeon must stay well clear of the tumor at this site. Nodes outside the mesorectal fascia along the pelvic side wall are routinely not resected. However, if the involvement of these nodes is established preoperatively, then the treatment can be modified to avoid the recurrence. Involvement of extra mesorectal lymph nodes can be targeted with a widened field of preoperative radiation therapy with extended surgical approach. It is important to evaluate these lymph nodes for surgical staging since malignant external iliac and superficial inguinal lymph nodes imply that it is a stage M1 disease, it is a metastatic disease. The most frequently used size criteria for distinguishing malignant from non-malignant lymph nodes is 5 mm. However, in 30 to 50% of the cases, metastasis has been reported in nodes less than 5 mm. Other features to suggest malignancy in the nodes include irregular or spiculated nodal margins, heterogeneous signal intensity and post-contrast enhancement, as well as restricted diffusion. The image shows examples of metastatic mesorectal and superior rectal lymph nodes. High resolution T2 weighted images are clearly the cornerstone of imaging in primary rectal carcinomas. Coronal high resolution T2 weighted images improve the assessment of nodal morphology, relationship of adjacent pelvic structures, as well as the sphincter complex. Rectal gel may be used for staging small tumors or previously treated lesions. However, it can be avoided in case of large tumors or low rectal carcinomas. Diffusion weighted images are helpful in identifying the involved lymph nodes and to detect recurrence. Thank you.